is my fight song. Take back my life song. Proving my right song.
Αρχικά μου έδωσε ένα link ο Ζαχαρίας μας από το site Off the Record στο άρθρο με τίτλο «Ολλανδός τραπεζίτης σε τηλεοπτική συνέντευξη λέγοντας σε ανώτερους κύκλους μου ζήτησα να θυσιάσω παιδιά». Λίγο μετά είδα τον KJ που έχει το σπουδαίο κανάλι The Scariest Movie Ever να ανεβάζει σχετικό βίντεο για το συγκεκριμένο άντρα. Όχι κάποιοι από εμάς που τώρα θυμίζουμε Δον Κιχώτες και που κυνηγάνε ανεμόμυλους δεν καταθέσαμε τα όπλα και προσωπικά δεν θα σταματήσω μέχρι να εμπεδώσει και ο τελευταίος που παρακολουθεί αυτό το κανάλι ότι αυτή η μάστιγα είναι υπαρκτή. Δεν θα πάψω να την πολεμώ και να δείχνω τα έργα και τις ημέρες των σατανόπληκτων παιδόφιλων και παιδοκτόνων, το δίκτυο διακίνησης των οποίων μοιάζει με γιγάντιο οχταπόδι που έχει απλώσει τα πλοκάμια του παντού και όπως έλεγα από την αρχή τώρα βλέπουμε πως έχει βεντουζάρει και στην Ελλάδα με την αμερικανική ΜΚΟ πακιστανικής καταγωγής που ήρθε και κατσικώθηκε στη Θεσσαλονίκη με σήμα ή λόγο όπως θέλετε πείτε το, ένα παιδοφιλικό σήμα ή λόγο το οποίο φαίνεται ξεκάθαρα στην πόρτα. Για όσους ξέρουμε ότι αυτό το σήμα ανήκει σε μια γκάμα σημάτων που έχουν δοθεί από το FBI ως σήματα παιδοφίλων, είναι μια ακόμη γροθιά στο στομάχι. Το συγκεκριμένο θέμα αυτό έχει ήδη ανέβει και σε πολλά blogs και οι περισσότεροι θα έχετε ήδη ενημερωθεί, οπότε δεν χρειάζεται να επεκταθώ για ενημέρωση σε αυτό. Όσοι δεν έχετε ενημερωθεί θα δώσω σχετικό link στην περιγραφή. Τα links που δίνει και ο KJ και ο Ζαχαρίας επίσης στην περιγραφή. Δείτε το βίντεο του KJ. Καλή ακρόαση.
These are the kind of interviews that many of us have been waiting on. This is the kind of video footage that many of us have been waiting on. Some of the best ways to really expose these shadow controllers, all the secret societies involved in this stuff, but some of the best ways to expose that is when the people themselves come forward. A lot of these people have died. Many of them have been imprisoned after coming out and talking about their experiences. This man's name is Ronald Bernard, and he was working in finances with the Illuminati. And he just did an interview recently, and he talks about all of the things that many of us have been trying to expose for years here. The Elders of Zion, child sacrifice, the worship of Lucifer, MK Ultra, mind control, torture. It's all here. It's in this interview. So because YouTube censorship is what it is, I can't put this video up on the channel. So I'm going to cover some bullet points and just show you some of the things he was talking about here. The interview itself was about half an hour long. The first half hour he's talking about how he started off as an entrepreneur and he eventually got into finances, and then he eventually got called up by the Illuminati. He got pulled in to the organization. So through his eyes and through this interview he's explaining everything he saw up to that point and how it ultimately destroyed him. I'll leave a link below to the full interview if you'd like to check that out. I also did a bit of an edit on it myself. I made it's about half of what it was at first, so it's like a 15-minute long segment, but it's the segment where he's talking all about the Illuminati and all the stuff he experienced there, and I'll leave a link below for that as well, and you can find that on my website. When I started watching this interview, I wasn't sure where it was going to go. Like I said, at first he's talking about his life and his background, and I was kind of hanging in there, but I'm telling you, once he gets about halfway through and gets into his experiences and what happened, this is mind-blowing stuff. It's videos like this and interviews like this you can use for your friends and family that still say that the Illuminati doesn't exist and that the people that run the world aren't Satanists, etc., etc. Here's your proof. So let's go ahead and get started with this more or less a bullet point presentation, and I'll kind of walk you through this. So this is around the part where it started, where he started talking about his experiences, and he was saying how he didn't complete the training and couldn't become a full-on psychopath, which is what they required for the kind of things they wanted him to do. As I said, you'll learn about his background and his history. He's a very successful businessman. He was really good with finances, so they pulled him out of that pot. So he starts getting into some of the religious stuff he started experiencing working with the Illuminati. And as he says here, it was a very non-mainstream religion. He explains that they are Luciferians. I liked this part as well. He's saying how you can say religion's a fairy tale, God doesn't exist, but to these people it's all very real. This is their truth, this is their reality. And this is a great example of what we're up against. Again, these people at the top of the pyramid, the people that are running everything in the world, are actively worshiping the devil. Once again, he explains how they are actually worshiping Lucifer. So they wind up taking him to the Church of Satan, or different churches of Satan. Of course, we're talking about Satanism. And remember, these are all elite bankers. These are guys at the top of the game. So he visited the churches with these people as a visitor, just checking things out. And this was great too. I've been researching this stuff for years. There have been other insiders who have come out and talked about these very same kinds of parties. There's a holy mass with naked women and liquor and all kinds of quote stuff. Reminds us of Eyes Wide Shut, right? Among other things. And at this time, he goes into it as well that he was an atheist. I mean, he was an atheist or agnostic and didn't have any belief at all until he started hanging around with these people. And much like most atheists or agnostics, his belief was that there was no real devil or evil out there like that, or demons. It's just people themselves. He hadn't made that connection yet. He still wasn't taking this very seriously. So again, as a visitor, he's seeing all this pageantry and ceremony and all this, and was just kind of thinking, well, this is kind of crazy, But he still didn't realize it meant something. And here's where it starts getting a little bit more hardcore. He explains that at one point he was invited to participate in actual sacrifices. And that was his breaking point. And it's around this time in the interview he actually starts sobbing. At one point there's actually tears streaming down his cheeks after dealing with these people and seeing some of the things he saw. Because he realized the sacrifices were going to be sacrifices of children. Another subject a lot of us have covered here, and this is something they have been doing for thousands of years. Literally killing off that purity, literally killing off that innocence, because a lot of these people believe there's more power in that blood. There's more power in the blood of the innocent or the virgins, the virgin sacrifices. So the interviewer asks, you were asked to do that? And he's like, yes, I could not do that. And then he goes into how he started to break down. Because he himself had a history of child abuse, so he could connect with these children. This guy wasn't a psychopath. They couldn't create it in him yet, or ever in this case. He still had empathy. He still had a soul. He says the purpose of the whole thing eventually in that world is that they have everybody in their pocket. You need to be susceptible to blackmail. And it's another thing we've discussed a lot about the secret societies. And we've seen a lot of truth come out about that as well. It's also one of the reasons all these secret societies do blood oaths, or oaths of secrecy, right? They try to keep their truths contained, because they know if the world knew about the darkness these people were in, well, they wouldn't get away with it if everyone understood it and rose up. So they blackmail each other. So he talks a little more about this, about the child sacrifice and how important it was to these people, and how that's what eventually broke him. Now again, I'm doing this as a bullet point. I would rather you actually watch the whole interview sometime yourself, or watch the edited version I did if you want to get right into this stuff. But I'll quickly touch on this as well. It's interesting. At one point he also talks about MK Ultra and mind control. How many times have we put videos up about this kind of stuff, and you have people telling you you're a kook and you're crazy, and there's no such thing, right? He also talks about the Zionism connection to the Illuminati, and he gets into the protocols of Zion. He says they follow this book. He said if you read the protocols of Zion, it's all right there. This is their game plan. If you're not familiar with the protocols of Zion, please look it up, check it out. And I'll leave you with that there. We get back to this point here where he started doing his own research and studying. As he was pulling out of these jobs, as he was trying to get away from these people, he actually looked into the Bible, started doing more research like this, and he started realizing what was happening and what he was up against and how very real this was. These are the kind of insiders we're all waiting on. Like I said, some have come in the past, many of them have disappeared, they've been suicided, or they've been imprisoned. So me personally, I think we should pray for this man, Ronald Bernard. He's going to need all the protection he can get, and I'm incredibly grateful that he came out and talked openly about this stuff and shared his experience. So I'm going to leave links below to both those videos. Please check it out for yourself, pass it around to your friends, let people know about this, because this is one of the best ways to truly wake people up and open their eyes to the reality of the Illuminati, the reality that our world is controlled by the devil and its minions at the very top of the pyramid. And all the things we've been discussing, many of us for years, and exposing and putting out there, it's all right here in this interview. I mean, this man experienced it. So thanks for checking out the video. I hope it helps you in your awakening and in your journey. I love information like this. I love when stuff like this comes out. It's very important, I believe, to see and to share. So thanks again for checking out the video, guys. Take it easy out there, and I'll talk to you a little later.
Κλείνοντας, εφιστώ και θα εφιστώ την προσοχή, το νου μας στα παιδιά. Είτε αυτά είναι Ελληνάκια, είτε μεταναστών παιδιά, δεν έχει σημασία. Μιλάμε για παιδιά και τα παιδιά, παιδιά μου, φίλοι μου, τα παιδιά ποτέ δεν φταίνε.
Έχε το νου σου στο παιδί, κλείσε την πόρτα με κλειδί, ψέματα λέτε.